Fortnite's next season may have been leaked already. Now, even though we're just now getting into Fortnite Galactic Battle, it looks like we're headed for a full-on superhero theme in June when we transition into the next season of Fortnite. But something that's a little bit weird, you guys, is that a lot of people, including me, thought that this current Star Wars season was Fortnite Season 3, but it turns out it's technically being called Mini Season 1 and then Galactic Battle. So it is a little bit confusing. It plays like a full season, but they're treating it, as a mini one because I mean, it's only 35 days long. The name just feels a little bit awkward, but it looks like Fortnite is going to start incorporating more of these mini seasons into actual chapters. We could even be having another one this chapter. But anyways, guys, it looks like the superhero leaks are starting to gain a lot of traction. And if this ends up being true, it could be a pretty big shift in Fortnite from where we are now into a fully original Fortnite superhero themed season. Now, this all started with a post from Lulo World on Twitter, who found that Epic added a file called a hero sprite. And that's the exact same icon that you guys can see here is on these superhero survey skins chest right here. It's kind of like this star sort of shape. So this isn't just a stretch or a speculation. It's a pretty known identifier at this point. It looks like Fortnite was going to actually add this to the game as it was added to the files and then quickly deleted, which is really interesting. Maybe this was some type of hint, or maybe it was completely accidental. On its own, though, you guys, that's not a direct confirmation. But when you combine it with everything else that we've seen lately and what else we're going to talk about in this video, it really starts to add up and looks like we could actually be seeing a superhero theme this season. Now, like I just mentioned, there are a lot of superhero style skins that are in the Epic Games surveys right now. There's actually 18 of them in total, which is a lot. There's a clear theme within these surveys, and it looks like Fortnite is directly hinting to us possibly having superhero skins in the game. And normally when there's this amount of the same style of skins in the surveys, that ends up being what we see in the next season based on stuff that we've seen before. Now, additionally, you guys, just a couple days ago, a Superman collab was rumored to be coming to the game, coming with obviously a skin and including a mythic power in the next season. Also, next season's start date lines up exactly, like almost perfectly, with OG Season 4's launch date. And if you guys remember, all the way back in Fortnite Chapter 1, that season was Fortnite's first superhero themed season ever. It was kind of like a movie sort of theme, like the superheroes were like in a movie or something, but it was pretty much superhero themed. And there was also a hero themed boon that just leaked in this week's update as well. And like I said, that also uses the same icon that appears on the superhero skins chest as well. So like I said, it's not just one hint. This is full of stacks of clues all pointing the same way, from the 18 superhero style skins, the Superman collab, as well as the lining up with the start date of OG Season 4 and the superhero themed boons. It looks like there's a pretty good chance that this may actually be a superhero themed season, and I am super duper excited for this. But in terms of what the community is thinking, it looks like they are kind of split on it thus far. Even though it was only released today, there's a lot of people with a lot of very strong opinions on it. Some people are saying, we've already done this. We had, of course, the OG superhero season in Chapter 1, like I mentioned with Season 4. We had the first Marvel season in Chapter 2, Season 4. And then we also had superhero stuff again in Chapter 5, Season 4 with collabs. So it looks like Fortnite kind of has something like weird going on with the number 4 in superheroes. It's like every time we have a superhero theme, it's always on like the Season 4 of a chapter, which is actually pretty interesting. I didn't realize that until I actually just said it out loud. But it seems like a lot of people are feeling this sort of theme fatigue. And we kind of saw this last season with Chapter 6, Season 2, where I felt like Fortnite was just kind of remixing ideas. And even though there were some different aspects to that one, it wasn't necessarily just like, an espionage themed or a robbery themed season. It still kind of felt the same as other stuff that we've had before. But it has been a long time since we've had a Fortnite original like superhero themed season. Like I said, all the way back in Chapter 1, Season 4. So I think Fortnite could do a lot of really, really cool stuff with this, as long as they're not just rehashing the stuff that we did in, in the Marvel seasons. But then, of course, there's always the other half. It seems like Fortnite community is always split half and half. There are people who are actually really hyped, because this time it looks like Fortnite is doing original heroes, not obviously just another crossover. If it was with Marvel or something, that would be really crazy if they did another Marvel themed season. I don't see them doing something like that again for a while. A lot of people have said that they do want them to do a DC collabed season, and even though this isn't obviously DC, as you can see, these characters don't look like any IP or any collab or anything, I think that would be really cool, and is definitely a possibility later on, maybe for Chapter 7 Season 4, who knows. Now, another thing that's really interesting that makes this season look like it's going to be really unique in terms of the skins is that these survey skins also showed characters with disguised versions, like secret identities, which could tie into a core mechanic next season. We could see like each skin having 2 different versions, kind of like what we saw with chapter 2 season 4, where we had each faction version and you got to choose. But with this time, maybe you wouldn't have to choose. Maybe they would all just come with disguised versions and their actual superhero version. I think that would be really cool, and it seems like the Fortnite community really likes that when there's more of an element to the skins in the battle pass than just it being one skin and not really having much depth to it. Now, that would match perfectly with the Superman collab leak. Like I said, since Superman literally is the definition of a dual identity, he's Clark Kent and then he's also Superman as well. I think that would work really, really well. But what's interesting is that we already had a Superman skin back in Chapter 2, Season 7. And I assume if they're going to incorporate a collab into this season, he would probably end up being the secret or the bonus skin, I guess, since it's not really secret anymore. So if Fortnite is going to bring back and make a new Superman skin, it's probably going to be a redesign for the movie that is coming out. Maybe one that transforms between Clark Kent and Superman, even though the one that we had already did that. I'm not really sure how they would end up doing this, but like we've seen with Iron Man, it looks like Fortnite is able to create different versions of the same collab characters, especially ones with Marvel, so that's really kind of up in the air. But in general, you guys, I'm really liking what I'm seeing so far. I think the skin concepts from the survey look super clean. The identity mechanic could be a lot of fun. And if Fortnite leans into the creative side of this, it could be a huge W for Fortnite. Obviously, as long as it's not just generic heroes with nothing behind them, this could feel really, really fresh, especially if Fortnite goes into more like depth with the storyline behind these characters and adds kind of a backstory behind them as well, especially with them, possibly having, dual storylines with them both having different identities. I think that would be really, really cool. I feels like Fortnite has been very crossover heavy the last couple of months. We had Chapter 5, Season 4, then we went into Remix. Of course, we've had a little less of it in Season 1 and 2, but then we're into a fully, mini season around another IP. But it'd be cool to see something that's still like really themed and something unique, but built by Fortnite completely, not just like borrowed from somewhere else. And that's not a knock on like collab seasons and collabs in Fortnite. I absolutely love them and I think they're great for the game. But I think it's going to be really cool to see something like this, and I hope this is the direction that they end up going. But I just want you guys to keep in mind that nothing here is officially confirmed yet, and I want to make that crystal clear, but it's not a complete random guess either. So it's not confirmed, but there are a lot of hints towards it. You've got the hero sprite leak, the 18 themed skins in the surveys, Superman collab, as well as themed boons with matching icons, and additionally the season dropping on the same day as OG Season 4. That one honestly could probably just be a coincidence, but I don't think that's something that we should completely ignore. Put all of that together, and this is looking really likely. I just want to mention to you guys that when everybody thought that this season was going to be Star Wars themed, there was literally only like 2 things that led to this. It was a chest that looked a lot like a Star Wars chest, and the fact that the season was landing near May the 4th, which was Star Wars Day, which is really interesting. So there's more evidence for this than there was for the Star Wars season, and the Star Wars season ended up happening, of course. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Are you hyped for another superhero season, or are you kind of over it and want Fortnite to do something completely different? Drop a like on today's video if you did enjoy. You watched all the way to the end. You must have enjoyed, so drop a like. Subscribe to the channel. I make videos like these every single day. Use code PROZEROYT in the Fortnite item shop to help support me even further, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.